Well, may peace and power elevation be to you beautiful people out there. This your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. Tonight I'm getting into the topic about Black history. So I want to put my focus on the Black magician. Okay. We're not talking about black magic. We talking about a person of African descent that was a magician, a person that practiced magic. Now, everybody argue that magic is an illusion, which it is. But there is only a magic that we do know of. But this magic does not deal with the abracadabra. It deals with people's thoughts and ideas brought into existence. It takes a lot more effort to bring things into life. Okay. So, and that's involving STEM. So it takes STEM to bring that type of magic. But again, this is no abracadabra. All right. Anyways, so yes, I wanted to get into this topic about Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was a black magician during the 1800s. He was very popular in that time period. Okay, he was very popular. As a matter of fact, he was considered as a celebrity during his time. So I'm going to go into the materials that I have. And also, there is an area called the Potter Place, which is located in New Hampshire. All right. So it's dedicated to him. All right. And his graveyard is over in that area. He's buried right next to his wife. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and share this information with you guys. Okay, so there's a book right here called The Enchanting Story of Richard Pryor, America's first famous Black American magician and ventriloquist. Excuse me. So a ventriloquist is someone who's a puppeteer. What I mean by a puppeteer, so let's say you see, so have you guys ever seen someone who had a puppet sitting on a lap and they'll move the puppet's mouth and they the ones doing the talking, but it seems like the puppet's the one doing the talking? That's a ventriloquist. That's what a ventriloquist is. Okay, they deal with puppets. So he was that, and he was a magician, and he was a hypnotist. Okay. That's one book about his life. Okay. And this right here that is a palace. It's called Potter Palace. It says the community takes its name from Richard Pryor, noted magician, ventriloquist, and showman. This 19th century master of the black arts was known throughout America. He died here in 1835 in his mansion, a showplace in the town. He is buried in a small plot on his once extensive estate. Okay. All right. So let's go into the information. All right, so he was an American magician, hypnosis, and ventriloquist. He was the first American-born magician to gain fame in his own country and is widely considered the first African-American celebrity. All right. So he was born in Hopkinton, Massachusetts. He claimed his father was Sir Charles Henry Franklin, a tax collector for the poor of Boston, and that his mother, Dana, was a black slave in the household. Since Sir Charles died in England in 1768, others believe the father may have been Henry Cromwell, who lived in the household, or a Mr. by the name of George Simpson. Okay. So nobody really knows who his father is biologically. So he claimed that his father was Sir Charles, but others say no, his father could not have been Sir Charles because he died in 768. And this was maybe 15 years before he was even born. So they said that his father may have been Henry Cromwell or a guy named George Simpson. So Richard Potter became a well-known magician in the New England area from 1811 to his death in 1834. As a performer, he obscured most of his early life and encouraged speculation. Evidently, he went to Hopkinton schools. Various accounts differ on the reason, but agree that he went to Europe and joined John Rainey, a Scottish ventriloquist and magician. Rainey came to the United States in 1800. It said Potter toured with Rainey as one of his assistants in the eastern United States. All right. Sorry about that. And it says in 1811, Rainey retired to Scotland and encouraged Potter to continue on his own. This is also the year that he became a Mason of African Lodge number 459 and was part of the founding the Prince Hall Masonry. Potter performed up and down the East Coast, going as far south as Alabama. One of Potter's notable run-ins with prejudice occurred in Mobile, Alabama, where he was turned away from a hotel because of his race. Despite this issue, Potter still made over $4,000 during that visit. In 1814, Potter purchased about 175 acres in the village of Andover, New Hampshire. He built a large house on his estate, known for his showmanship in all aspects of life. The estate includes 2 life-size wooden carvings of human figures on pillars. To this day, the area of New Hampshire is called Potter Place for Richard. Potter inspired Grace Metellier's character, Samuel Peyton, in the novel Peyton Place. Potter married Sally Harris in 1808. Potter claimed she was Penobscot Native American. They had 3 children. Richard and Sally are buried in a small graveyard on the property he bought in Andover. Their graves were moved, but his request was to be buried upright. Okay. So also there's the information at the bottom. Here's the reference. Here's the bibliography. And here's the external links. So that was interesting information. So there's little to a whole lot about him and his legacy, besides the book that I posted. All right. So as that. Also, let me show you guys the information about the Potter Place. Okay, so as you can see, Potter Place Railroad Station. All right, that's the railroad station right here. It says the Powder Place Railroad Station is a historic railroad station on Depot Street in Andover, New Hampshire. Built in 1874, it is one of the best preserved surviving 19th century railroad station in Merrimack County. It now houses the Museum of the Andover Historical, Andover Historical Society. It was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1989. Description of history. The Powder Place Railroad Station is located in what is now a relatively rural setting between Depot Street and the former railroad right-of-way of the Boston and Maine Railroad, now used for Northern Rail Trail. Depot Street is in part a historical alignment of the main east-west road through Andover, now bypass U.S. Route 4. The building is a single-story wood frame structure with a hip roof. The roof has long eaves, which are supported by large decoratively carved brackets and feature ornamental carving at the eave. The street-facing roof face is pierced by two gable dormers. The walls are finished in vertical board siding with applied stick-style elements, especially in the upper section. On the track-facing facade is a projecting bay through which runs controls for a working semaphore signal. This kind of reminds me of that show that was around in the 80s. It was called Thomas and the Train. That's what it kind of reminds me of. All right, but anyway, the Northern Railroad was a line run between Concord, New Hampshire, and White River Junction, Vermont, beginning in 1847. This station was built to serve that line in 1874. At the time of its National Register listing, it was one of 14 surviving railroad stations in Merrimack County, of which most had been substantially altered. This station, sold by the railroad in 1961, underwent a careful restoration in the 1970s and was taken over by Andover Historical Society in 1983. All right. Andover Historical Society Museum. The station is the primary museum building on Andover Historical Society and features an early to mid 20th century period station master's office. An early 20th century caboose is located next to the station. The society's other museum buildings include an early 20th century railroad freight house displaying agricultural machinery and ice harvesting tools, a restored turn of the 20th century village store, an early 20th century post office, and the Tucker Mountain Schoolhouse. The Society Museum buildings are open on summer weekends. The homestead site and grave of magician Richard Potter and his wife are located across the railroad right away from the station. All right, so they pretty much turned his estate, most of it, into the Potter place, and they put railroads and things like that. So where he's buried is right across from it. Okay. So the station from 1906 postcard. Mm-hmm. All right, so it was built in 1874. So that was like 20 some years. Well, no, it was like 19 years after his death. Okay. Western Union Telegraph and Cable Office. Okay. Station houses. See, Powder Place. All right, so all of this was his land, and they built the land and turned it into the railroad. The station houses a significant portion of the Andover Historical Society collection. Okay, so well, the station is on Northern Railroad, later the Boston and Maine Railroad line that ran from Boston to White River Junction in Vermont and on to Montreal. Okay, so it says Richard Potter was a well-known and successful black magician and ventriloquist in the early 19th century. He traveled and performed throughout America. In 1814, he bought a large tract of land here and built a fine home where he entertained a wide circle of friends. While it has never been firmly documented, it is believed that the Potter Place was the origin of the name of this community and the railroad depot. Okay. All right. So he's buried over here in this area. So I'm just showing the pictures. Okay. So it says Pat Cutter shows how Potter Place preserved intact the station master's office. All right. Ed Hiller and Pat Cutter shows the artifacts inside the Potter Place Railroad Station in Dover. All right. So there goes the historical sign, historical trademark. And that's it. Yeah. All right. That's all the information I have. So, with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you guys for watching. For those of you that was tuning in, and make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, share this channel. With that being said, peace and power, elevation be to all of you. This is your girl Tiffany, and this is where you'll get a lot of the information. Whatever information you cannot come across or you was not able to find, you can always come and check out my channel, and I have a lot of stuff for you. So just make sure y'all come in, support, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Until then, this your girl Tip, and I'm logging off, and I'm saying this with love, peace. Take it easy on yourself. Until next time, deuces. All right.